Hi, Vincent.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Well, I've had a busy day dealing with plumbers and things, which is bound to be expensive, but it's been sorted now. And yeah, I've got a few more ideas. And yeah, I argued with a few more Islamophobes, and I was just going through this guy who when they do the Muslims are bad and why I hate them, and how could you possibly think of Sharia? But anyway, I think the document center has been quite useful. And he wants to talk to me again, which I think will be good because I think he wants to promote his channel, and I'm a convenient hate figure.
Propose whose channel? Who are you talking about?
Somebody who called Samuel Taweed, whom I met in Spaces, who also has a YouTube channel, which I've just appeared on.
Wait, he's a Muslim?
No, he's got this weird name, but he obviously hates Muslim. It could be an ex-Muslim for all I know, because he's got a weird name like Samuel Taweed, which is kind of Muslim, isn't it? Sort of Jewish and Muslim. Yeah, and it's probably a fake. Of course, it's a fake name, but um, I don't know. I haven't asked him, where he came from or whatever. But I've, you know, anyway, he seems to want to speak to me again, which I guess is helpful. You know, we don't have to agree to want to, argue with each other, which is really what a lot of these spaces are about. Jewish and Muslims and Christians and Muslims and whatever.
So what do you want to make a pamphlet about? I'm going to be posting while we're discussing. I will be posting some of these pamphlets out.
I was thinking of a story of Prince Charles converting to Islam and starting a constitutional crisis. Do you think that would be fun?
Well, I thought that secular Koranism wasn't Islam. I mean, you want to venture into that now they're converting to Islam?
This is just for the fun of it. I mean, because we have been talking about King Charles, haven't we?
Well, do you
Yesterday,
want him to
anyway.
become a secular Quranist or a Muslim? Because those are two different things.
Um, Muslim, because um, yeah, it's sort of like, oh, it's sincere, and then there's a history of it, talking to
Wait, shouldn't that be well, that shouldn't be part of the secular Quranist documents, right? You want just a separate story about Prince Charles converting to Islam and
yeah, it doesn't have to
okay,
be, part of this thing. Yeah. I mean, if you can
okay,
think of any details that would, to add to it, that might be useful.
okay. Let's start a new, fresh grok. Right. Write a story about King Charles of England converting to Islam, initiating a constitutional crisis. Anything else?
Um, no, I can't think of anything. I mean, I guess we can build on it if interesting details arise.
Okay, I'm going to hold on. It's I'm not. I'm going to save this. I'm going to let you save this story. I mean, I don't know where to put this. I guess I'll save it in the secular Quranist. keep writing Prince Charles. He's the king now. You forget he's the king. It took him forever to be a king because his mom lived forever.
Yeah, I know. I still call him Prince Charles, but
Yeah, so do I. I was calling him Prince Charles before the whole time.
I mean, if he wants to go down in history, I mean, that would be his way. And, you know, I was talking to this woman who obviously doesn't like Muslims, and she's got this conspiracy theory that he converted in 1986 or 1996? And actually, there was a play some years ago that I saw. It was a kind of comedy, really, but it was a story about the Prince of Wales converting to Islam. I remember seeing it. So, what I'm saying is not completely unprecedented.
Hmm. I sent it to you. Claire?
Thank you. I'm just going to finish this um, something on my plate while it's still hot. Did you have anything to say about, how things have been going
Oh,
with
I
your
could.
work?
With my what?
Your work,
Oh,
your research.
there's nothing new. Oh, okay. Actually, okay, I do have time. I have a show that I'm doing with Trad Cat Night, the Catholic, at noon. So I have about 2 hours,
Hmm.
2 hours and 20 minutes to discuss with you, and then I have to go, and then I can come back. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm going to be discussing with him. Though there's nothing new to discuss, since the last time I was on his show. But yeah, no, I'm looking for a new topic to get fascinated by. In that, it's all these cults. I've really stretched out all the work there is to be done on that, and I have Herbert Armstrong, I have Christian Science, Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, Seventh Day Adventist, Carol Balizet. I've kind of we talked about the Blackburn cult. I don't have what's it called, a blog spot on her, but she might be some other cult leader you would be interested in, Claire, even though she was really weird.
You have mentioned her to me before, but I can't remember the details.
Yeah, Blackburn, Otis May Blackburn. She was able to convince people that she didn't even have the book. She didn't even have the book, and she had people convinced that she was writing this book from an angel, and that once it was completed, it would show where all the gold, oil, and silver deposits were all around the world. And she got 100 people or 200 people as her fanatical followers who gave her all their wealth, and all their wealth. I'm talking about like very rich people. Some of them were very rich, and they handed over all their money to her. And yeah, she kept this charade going that an angel was dictating a book to her. She wouldn't show anyone the book, and nobody saw the writing. There was this one where the followers got angry, and they demanded to see the book, and she just scribbled some stuff on the outside of some papyrus and showed them the papyrus, and they didn't open up to see that it was blank, but she showed that to them in order to keep them quiet. And they were just really weird. They would do sacrifices of dogs and mules and stuff like that. And she believed that, she preached that the end of the world was coming, and then the world would be ruled by 11 queens from Beverly Hills.
Do you think do you think her most loyal followers were from Beverly Hills?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure she had at least one follower from there because they were so rich, her followers. You know, lots of money. And and there was death. There were disappearances. There were deaths and disappearances, and it was a pretty wild cult. And but if she was able to convince people that 11 queens were going to be ruling Hollywood, and that she would have access to all the gold and diamond and oil deposits in the earth, then I'm sure you can convince people of a thing or two.
Well, yes, I'm using the Messiah substitute idea. For people who don't know, the cult was started in 1922. And when did she die? Did she die in prison or anything like that?
No, she did go to prison though. But no, she went to prison, and then she left, and then she actually did write a book called The Origin of God, which I've read part of it, and it's a very weird book, even though I didn't read that much of it. I would like to read it though, The Origin of God, though I heard it makes no sense.
Right, she died in 1951. She was born in Iowa, and she was tried in the Supreme Court of California. But I mean, going back to Yuval Harari, who wrote *Sapiens*, and he's basically saying people just make up stories and then kind of do a fake it till you make it thing, because that's what people do. Apparently, they can't help themselves. They want to, they fall in love with a particular story, and they think that that's how to make it happen. And obviously, before they can do that, they'll have to find other people who share their views, their beliefs, their vision, their destination, and that's it. And really, you can't you can't reason with some people, because their very identity depends on being a member of that particular group. So
Right.
so it's a kind of are you sheep, are you cattle, or are you the wolf, or are you the shepherd, kind of thing. I guess I think that there's some theory about dividing humanity in these three groups. Or maybe, we can all be a combination of three, throughout our lives. But so, there are all these beliefs, swimming around. How do we know which one to believe when our emotions are so strong, and, we just can't help but fall in love with the story, and then we can't be reasoned out of it. Right, and everybody mocks everybody's beliefs, and nobody can show that their belief is the most sensible. But anyway, shall I read the story now?
What about May Otis?
No. The one you just sent me. I don't mind reading the story of May Otis. Shall I do that? Would you like me to read that?
No, but you would like to. Okay. We did a whole series on Otis May, but if you want to read a little bit about her, sure.
Yeah, I do remember her a little bit because I do remember saying, actually, it's quite long, but in case anybody's interested, I'll just post a link because there's actually quite a lot of it. Um, but I mean, do you ever wonder why there's so many cults in America?
Our freedom of religion and, our independent spirit and, the new frontier, new religions.
Yeah, I think it has caused problems with the government, Waco and what's the other one? In the one in Guatemala, the Kool-Aid one.
Oh, um,
Jim Jones.
Jonestown,
Yes.
Jim
So
Jones.
yeah, and maybe it would protect Americans a bit more from joining crazy cults, because I think people are vulnerable and they obviously like something, and then somebody tells them their dream could come true, and then they're off. And I mean, you could say the same thing about Judaism and Christianity and Islam, right? Like, oh well, you want to believe in Allah, you might not even exist, and you're doing all these things, you're making all these sacrifices, you're missing out on all this fun. Um, but I say, I guess my argument would be, well, forget what we would prefer, because we'll never know if anything is true or not, but we can work out through our powers of deductive reasoning, which group has more power, you know, which religions in out of the ones the top five that we know are most powerful, and it's that sort of thing. So people are going to argue with you. They're not going to say, "Oh, hey, Hinduism and Buddhism is more powerful than the Abrahamic religions," because that's plainly wrong. So at least I think even Hindus and Buddhists would have to agree that the Abrahamic religions are more organized and have acquired more empire, and the people calling themselves Jews, Christians, and Muslims, just have higher status. So I mean that's my methodology in trying to persuade people, so that there's no room for argument, because I just refuse to argue with people about whether God exists or not, because they'll just want to believe whatever they want to believe. And yeah, I think we know from how the people that we talk to how twisted they are, and it's not even that they have very high status beliefs, you know. Because I'm thinking of the people who identify as Nazis and white nationalists, but they still they're still proud of those beliefs, and they still don't want to be kicked out from their group. All right, I think I'll read
The story.
the story of King Charles converting to Islam, sparking a constitutional crisis. In the autumn of 2025, the United Kingdom found itself plunged into unprecedented turmoil. King Charles, now in the third year of his reign, had always been known for his intellectual curiosity and deep spirituality. His fascination with interfaith dialogue, particularly his oft-quoted admiration for Islamic mysticism and architecture, had been a quiet undercurrent of his public life. But no one, not the government, not the Church of England, not even his closest advisers, foresaw the announcement that would shake the monarchy to its core. It began with a cryptic statement from Buckingham Palace on a chilly November morning. The king, it said, would address the nation that evening on a matter of personal and constitutional significance. Speculation ran wild. Was he abdicating, announcing a health crisis? The British press churned out theories, but the truth was stranger than any tabloid could have dreamed. At 8 p.m., King Charles appeared on screens across the country, his demeanour calm yet resolute. Behind him, the familiar gilded decor of the palace was subtly altered. A copy of the Koran rested on a table beside his usual stack of books. "My fellow citizens," he began, "after years of reflection and study, I have made a decision that I believe aligns with my conscience and my duty to seek truth. I have chosen to embrace Islam as my faith." The nation fell silent. Then chaos erupted. The implications were immediate and chiasmic. As monarch, Charles was the supreme governor of the Church of England, a role entwined with the very identity of the British state. His conversion raised a question no one had seriously contemplated since the Reformation. Could a Muslim king lead an Anglican institution? The Archbishop of Canterbury issued a measured but tense statement, calling for prayer and discernment while Parliament scrambled to convene an emergency session. Prime Minister Rachel Hartley, only 6 months into her term, faced a constitutional crisis of historic proportions. The 1701 Act of Settlement barred Catholics from the throne, but no law explicitly addressed a monarch converting to Islam. Legal scholars debated furiously. Some argued that the king's role was symbolic and his personal faith irrelevant. Others insisted that his position as head of the church made his conversion untenable. The phrase constitutional incompatibility began trending on social media within hours. I've just realised I have failed to share this stream. So I'm going to pause a little.
And I'm about to make my first one of your first. I gotta start churning out your posts and posting them.
Well, it is a bit of a cliffhanger. I mean, Grog does pretty good stories, doesn't it?
Yes.
I think it does. I mean, it's not, completely stupid, and it does take into account, all these things like realities and constitutions and that kind of stuff. Sorry, my computer's a bit slow. Okay, I've done the Facebook one. Now I do the... Okay, I'll continue reading. Public reaction was polarised. In London, protests erupted outside Buckingham Palace, some waving Union Jacks and hymnals, others chanting in support of the King's courageous choice. The tabloids screamed headlines like "Charles the Caliph" and "End of the Crown." Meanwhile, progressive voices praised his interfaith gesture, pointing to his decades-long advocacy for unity. Across the Islamic world, reactions ranged from cautious approval to jubilant celebration, with some clerics hailing him as a bridge between East and West. Sorry, I'm still in the process of sharing it. Right, and I'm continuing. Within the royal family, tension simmered. Prince William, now Prince of Wales, was said to be devastated but supportive, torn between filial loyalty and his own duty as heir. Palace insiders whispered of heated discussions with Queen Camilla, who reportedly urged Charles to reconsider the public announcement. The king, however, stood firm, citing his lifelong belief in authenticity over convention. The crisis deepened when the government introduced the Regency Bill 2025, proposing that William assume temporary powers until the constitutional question could be resolved. Traditionalists decried it as a coup against a reigning monarch. Others saw it as the only way to preserve stability. The House of Commons descended into shouting matches, with one MP famously demanding, "Will the king swear allegiance to the crown or the crescent?" Charles himself remained serene amid the storm. In a second address, broadcast from a modest room rather than a throne, he spoke of his vision of a pluralistic monarchy. He recited verses from the Quran alongside lines from Shakespeare, arguing that faith need not divide a nation. "I remain your servant," he concluded, "bound by the same oath I took at my coronation, to uphold justice and unity." But unity proved elusive. By Christmas, the Supreme Court was poised to rule on a case brought by a coalition of Anglican clergy, challenging the king's right to retain his titles. Scotland and Wales muttered about referendums, sensing a chance to rethink the union itself. Internationally, allies like the United States watched with bemusement, while adversaries gleefully predicted the monarchy's collapse. As 2026 dawned, the United Kingdom stood at a crossroads. Would King Charles's conversion herald a new era of tolerance or fracture 1,000 years of tradition? The answer, like the man himself, remained an enigma, caught between the weight of history and the pull of the future yet unwritten. And then it finishes it with the story is, of course, a work of imagination, blending real-world figures and institutions with a speculative twist. Let me know if you'd like to explore any part of it further. I guess it's offering to, give you part 2 if you're interested.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's quite realistic, I would say. Grok is in a way a political strategist. It's saying, if Charles were to do this, then these problems would, very likely arise. But I thought of another scenario.
Okay.
So the European leaders are very upset with Trump, wanting to end the war in Ukraine. And they basically want to turn back time and want the neocons to take charge. But it does look like maybe Trump is just sort of, streamlining the American empire and saying, this is too much for us to bear. It's costing us too much. We don't really need to, control the whole world. It's enough for us to have, Canada and Greenland and that will, be enough, to control, the, oil and the, minerals and whatever, and that will be good enough. And this means that Europeans will be abandoned, and the very warlike people, and have been known for starting 2 world wars. And the worst thing about the Europeans is that they start things they can't finish, and then beg the Americans to join, and cause even more chaos when the Americans when America takes sides. So my suggestion, and this I think should be part of the secular Koranism thing, is that there should be an Islamic European Union whose principles should replace the current EU directives which I guess a lot of Europeans hate. So instead of imposing, neoliberalism and whatever Europeans don't like, it is proposed that the EU should become the IEU, the Islamic European Union, and adopt the principles of secular Koranism.
So you want to write about a story about the Secular Koranist Party of America telling Europe what?
That as it's going to be not able to protect Europe anymore from the Russians, there is a horrible possibility that these European countries will start wars with each other again and become a series of failed states.
Okay, so let's just say, using all the data you have so far, write a letter from you have so far on secular Koranism. Write a letter from the party telling European nations that they are unable to keep Russia at bay without American intervention. Using all the data you have so far on secular Koranism, write a letter from the party telling European nations they are unable to keep Russia at bay without American intervention and are on the brink of war with one another. Tell these nations they can avoid war by creating a secular Koranist European Union, which will unify governments and lay down Quranic principles for fair warfare. Is that good?
Yes, that sounds very promising. Okay. Thank you, Vincent.
Sure. Excuse me.
Oh, I was thinking of Lisa from yesterday,
Yes.
who was in your space, and she was talking about, basically her state being left alone, and I was thinking of how it would be if, I'm not really sure about how it used to be a confederation. So I guess under a confederation, individual American states had more rights, and after the Union, they had fewer rights. But perhaps secular Koranism with, Kansan characteristics, Californian characteristics, whatever, will make it easier for America to keep its union than, what she wanted was basically, every state to secede, right? She's saying, I've had enough of you, federal government, my state and me were going our own way. I think that was what she was saying yesterday.
Yeah. I sent you the Europe document.
Yes, I'm opening it now. Okay. I can't wait. I can't wait. Below is a detailed letter from the Secular Koranist Party of America addressed to European nations, urging them to adopt a secular Koranist European Union to avoid war among themselves and with Russia. Based on all the data provided on secular Koranism, the latter highlights Europe's vulnerability without American intervention, proposes unification under secular Koranism's principles, and emphasizes fair warfare guided by Quranic laws tailored to the current geopolitical context. Letter from the Secular Koranist Party of America. Date March 10, 2025, to the governments and peoples of the European nations. Subject: a call for a secular Koranist European Union to prevent war. Dear leaders and citizens of Europe, the Secular Koranist Party of America extends its hand in a time of dire need. As of March 10, 2025, we observe with growing concern the fragility of your continent. Russia looms as a relentless threat, its ambitions unchecked, while your nations, France, Germany, Poland, and beyond, teeter on the brink of war with one another. NATO wanes, and without American intervention, your defenses crumble. Secular Koranism, the legal framework we've implemented in the United States, offers a solution: a secular Koranist European Union, SKEU. To unify your governance, lay down Quranic principles for fair warfare, and avert catastrophe. Read on to understand your peril and our proposal. The peril you face. Europe, your liberal democracies falter. Russia's aggression, evident in Ukraine and beyond, exposes your military weakness. NATO, strained by internal discord, cannot might, which we may soon redirect inward to solidify our secular Koranist state. Meanwhile, your own tensions, France versus Germany over trade, Poland versus Hungary over values, threaten civil war. Our 2025 inquiry predicted global instability. Your borders now prove it. Without unity, your prey, Russia advances and you fracture. Secular Koranism, your salvation. Secular Koranism, crafted by our agnostic founder Claire Gore, strips the Quran of faith, keeping its laws for governance. In the US, it's transformed us. No usury cuts debt 30%, a 20% flat rate. It ensures fairness, socialized medicine heals all, and a citizen's militia maintains order. Our one-party state, guided by Quran chapter 2, verse 256, no compulsion in religion, ends factionalism. George Washington's dream, perhaps inspired by the Quran's unity, Surah 3, 103, this can be your model. Unification. An SKEU would dissolve your squabbling governments into one, led by a council like our National Leadership Council, NLC. No more EU bureaucracy, decisive action, not debate. Fair warfare. Quranic principles, justice, no excess. Chapter 2, verse 190. Guide conflict. No indiscriminate bombing. No targeting civilians. Rules Russia ignores, but you can enforce. Our citizens' militia trains for this. You can too. Economic stability. No usury ends Russia's debt leverage. No. Our model freed $25 trillion US GDP. Your economies, for example, Greece's debt crisis, could follow. Social order. Marriage contracts, no for divorce, and 100 lashes for unmarried parents. Post-2026 grades have cut US divorce 25%. Your fracturing families need this. Why you need us? America's success, crime down, education up. proves secular Koranism's worth. A 40 to 60% global adoption prediction hinges on your move. Without US intervention, Russia overruns you. Our militia and that tax strength can't be spared forever. SKEU aligns with a secular Koranist European Union aligns with public law 102 to 14. No hide laws, justice, no idolatry, your ethical base. Our Jewish calendar stability beats your Christian drift and Muslim shift. The SKEU proposal formation signed the SKEU Charter by June 2025. Unified under secular Koranism, our state TV will broadcast your debates. Department for Debate DFD style. Warfare rules. Adopt Quranic limits. Fair fights, no excess. Train militias with our model. Implementation. Roll out no usury. Flat tax registries are beyondism data. Guides you. Grace period. 1 year delay on lashes lets you adjust as we did. Your choice, our support. Europe, you're at a crossroads. War or unity. Secular Koranism offers peace through law, not prayer. Choose the SKEU and we'll back you. Militia aid, economic ties, reject it and Russia wins. Or you tear yourselves apart. Our DCS hears your gripes. File now. The world watches. Our 2040 vision depends on you. For order, for unity, for survival. Secular Koranist Party of America. Signed, Clara Nguyen, SKPA representative, March 10, 2025.
What did you think?
I really can't fault it in its presentation. It makes sense. And I think probably quite a few commentators are a bit concerned about what's going to happen when America abandons Europe.
Okay, so go ahead.
You know, I'm just highlighting Mycroft's witticism. When he says, I'm going to laugh, and all this conspiring feeds back into Grok AI, and people start getting recommended secular Koranism when they ask for recipes.
Who said this?
Mycroft.
Oh, Mycroft
wins, yes.
Yeah, I talk to him on X sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What were you going to say?
No, what do you want to do next? I've sent you. I'm just sending you the as I post them. I've posted about 4 stories so far.
Oh, great. Now, what was I going to? I'm reminded of. Did you know that Russia was invited to join NATO once? Did you know that? Okay,
no.
I'll just look that up in case I was mistaken and only dreamt it. Hold on. I'll ask Grok. Was Russia invited to join NATO? And based on this information, I think Russia might like to join too. Russia was never formally invited to join NATO as a full member. However, there were discussions and informal considerations about Russia's relationship with NATO, particularly in the 1990s and early 2000s during a period of relative thaw in East-West relations following the Cold War. In the early 1990s, after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, NATO sought to engage with former Warsaw Pact countries and Russia itself through cooperative frameworks rather than outright membership. In 1994, Russia joined the Partnership for Peace program, a NATO initiative designed to build trust and cooperation with non-member states, including former Soviet republics. This was not an invitation to join NATO, but rather a mechanism for dialogue and military cooperation. A notable moment came in 2000 when the then Russian President Vladimir Putin, early in his tenure, reportedly asked NATO Secretary Lord Robertson about the possibility of Russia joining the alliance. According to Robertson's later account, Putin inquired, "When are you going to invite us to join NATO?" Putin responded that countries don't get invited, they apply, and NATO assesses based on its criteria. Putin reportedly dismissed the idea of Russia applying, suggesting it was beneath Russia to stand in line with smaller nations. This exchange highlights that while Putin may have floated the idea, no serious invitation or application process followed. Later, in a 2001 interview with David Frost, Putin expressed openness to the idea of Russia joining NATO under certain conditions, stating it was conceivable if NATO treated Russia as an equal partner. However, this was more a rhetorical stance and a concrete proposal, and NATO never extended a formal membership offer. Relationships deteriorated due to geopolitical tensions, such as NATO's expansion into Eastern Europe, the 1999 Kosovo intervention, and subsequent events like the 2008 Russo-Georgian War and the 2014 Ukraine crisis, making any notion of Russian membership increasingly untenable. Instead, Russia and NATO established the NATO-Russia Council in 2002 to foster cooperation, but this faltered amid mutual distrust. In short, while there were moments of dialogue and hypothetical discussions, Russia was never officially invited to join NATO, and its leaders never pursued membership in earnest. Okay, I was thinking another good story would be America becoming the Caliphate after inviting, all these non-Western countries to adopt secular Koranism. What do you think?
You mean an Islamic caliphate?
Well, it'll be secular Koranism.
Secular Koranist caliphate?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to call it a caliphate? Because then people will...
Well, I mean, the Muslims haven't got one of their own, have they? Theirs was dismantled in 1924. So they are in a state of disarray. I think the West still has the wherewithal to organize itself. Once it can weave a sufficiently attractive narrative to attract people to subscribe to its proposals. I mean, this is a way that, my people can, maintain their moral and political leadership by saying, oh, well, we read the writing in the wall, we saw that we were wrong, and we corrected ourselves just in time with secular Koranism.
So what do you want me to ask it? That making America the caliphate?
After showing moral and political leadership in getting the rest of the world to adopt secular Koranism. Because I think the convention is that the most powerful Islamic country gets to be the Caliphate.
Okay. So using all the data you have so far on secular Koranism, write a story about America becoming the secular Koranist. How do you spell caliphate?
CALIPHATE.
becoming the secular Koranist Caliphate and center of secular Koranism globally. Why? Because
fulfilling its manifest destiny.
fulfilling its manifest destiny.
For being the exceptional and indispensable nation for spreading Islam globally. Something like that.
Manifest destiny for being the exceptional and indispensable arm of spreading secular Koranism globally. Using all the data you have so far on secular Koranism, write a story about America becoming the secular Koranist Caliphate and center of secular Koranism globally, fulfilling its manifest destiny for being the exceptional and indispensable arm of spreading secular Koranism.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Oh, it's still thinking. That's weird. Oh no, I hope we didn't lose contact with Grok, which happens every once in a while. Let me ask it again.
You know, with DeepSeek, which is a Chinese AI, which I've tried a few times. So I've asked it a few, controversial questions, and you could see it. You could actually see it, generating all the words, and you can see the words, and then it kind of stops itself. And then it deletes everything. It deletes its answer, and then it says, "Let's talk about something else."
No, it doesn't.
It does. I do. Because I was asking in the position of the Chinese Communist Party on feminism, and I could I still remember what it was saying. It's like, well, his approach is rather nuanced, and on the one hand this, on the other hand that, and blah blah blah, and then it just went, oh, oops, shouldn't have answered that question. Delete, 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 and then it said, would you like to discuss something else?
Odd.
I'm sure I've told you that story, haven't I? Maybe not.
No, I sent you the Caliphate story.
Okay. No, because I was scared that it might say, not doing it, not doing it. It's too scary or something. Okay. Below is a detailed party story for the Secular Koranist Party of America, imagining a future where America transforms into the Secular Koranist Caliphate and becomes a global center of secular Koranism, fulfilling its manifest destiny as the exceptional and indispensable force for spreading the ideology worldwide. This narrative incorporates all the data provided on secular Koranism, projecting a utopian yet authoritative vision. The rise of the secular Koranist Caliphate. The year was 2035, and the golden dome of the secular Koranist Caliphate's Grand Assembly glittered atop Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., a symbol of America's new destiny. 10 years after the secular Koranist Party of America seized power on March 10, 2025, I'm not sure about seizing power, the United States had shed its old skin, emerging as a global beacon of secular Koranism. The Constitution, crafted by Clerco's agnostic genius, had transformed a fractured nation into an exceptional, indispensable force, fulfilling its manifest destiny to spread order, reason, and law worldwide. In Harmony, Ohio, Lena Carter, now a decorated IC-3 black militia commander, surveyed the town square. The air buzzed with the hum of state TV drones broadcasting the latest registry stats. Crime down 50% since 2025, education up 40%, divorce nearly eradicated. No usury changed everything, she told her patrol, pointing to the flat 20% tax received funding to socialized medicine clinics. America's a caliphate now. Claire's vision made us the best. Her married mother virtue tag gleamed, a testament to the laws, mandatory marriage contracts, no for divorce, that had stabilized families with 100 lashes for unmarried parents, keeping order. Across the nation, the transformation was complete. The one-party state, led by the National Leadership Council (NLC), had dissolved Congress, replacing it with a streamlined government mirroring the SKPA party constitution. The Citizens Militia, now a global model, trained adolescents in a mandatory volunteering work service, teaching work ethic and life skills 20 hours weekly from the age of 14. I think that might be a bit excessive, don't you think?
Yes, we can change it though. I mean, we can it's just a. I mean, I know you want these pamphlets to be perfect, but
No, I mean, no, we don't want to do it. I just want to, just register that I think possibly it might be considered excessive, just to show I can read the room a little bit sometimes.
yeah.
The Jewish calendar, adopted for its stability, framed national holidays like the festival of freedom, Pesach, while the registry of races, IC codes, and religions tracked progress under Beyondism, Raymond Cattell's group Evolution. IC4 Asians led education, IC6 Arabs dominated small business growth, and Orthodox Jews topped cohesion, proof of Quran-guided success. The turning point came in 2030 when Europe, reeling from Russian aggression and internal strife, heeded the SKPA's 2025 letter. A secular Koranist European Union, SKEU, formed. France, Germany, and Poland unified under no usury and fair welfare rules. Chapter 2, verse 190, averting war. America's caliphate status, declared in 2032, cemented its role as the center. State TV beamed DFD debates globally, and the Department of Complaints and Suggestions, DCS, handled international feedback, refining policies like the A, B+, and B school systems for MP, RUP, and UUP kids. In Tel Aviv, Israel had joined the fold by 2028. 70% of secular Jews chose secular Koranism over Sharia, per our prediction, adopting the Caliphate's model. The Middle East followed, with Turkey and Jordan embracing no usury economies, their IC6 populations thriving. Asia's Confucian states, South Korea, Japan, adopted socialized medicine, their IC5 citizens praising the data-driven approach. Even Africa and Latin America, once skeptical, saw Bolivia and Kenya adopt that taxes by 2034, their diverse IC codes rising under Caliphate guidance. Back in DC, Clara Nguyen, now Caliphate Chancellor, IC5 Chinese, addressed the Grand Assembly. America's manifest destiny is fulfilled, she declared, her voice echoing through the dome. From Jefferson's Quran-inspired freedom to Washington's anti-factionalism, we've built the exceptional public law 102 to 14 foretold. Our 2040 prediction, 60% global adoption, is here. The crowd, I see whites, I see 3 blacks, I see 4 Asians, cheered, their registry tags glinting. But not all was smooth. In harmony, Jamal Carter, an IC3 ex-Christian, grumbled at a DCS meeting. Caliphate's great, no debt, good schools, but IC codes still bug me. I'm biracial, not just black. Lena, his commander, laughed. Violet, DFD's debating next week. Claire's substitute messiah plan works. Order, not idols. Jamal smirked, filing his complaint, knowing the system bent with reason. Globally, resistance lingered. Christian holdouts in Poland rioted over the Trinity critique, but the militia quelled it. Muslim purists in Saudi Arabia mocked the faithless caliphate, yet their youth eyed America's stability. The SKPA's 2035 inquiry had pegged 60% adoption, Europe 70%, Asia 50%, Africa, Latin America 40%, and the numbers held. America's exceptionalism, rooted in Course Tisha B'Av-born vision, spread secular Koranism like a tide, fulfilling its destiny. As dusk fell, Lena lit a festival of lights candle, Hanukkah, secularized, watching her kids play. A-school stars thanks to her MP status. From chaos to caliphate, she mused. Claire's law, not a messiah, saved us and the world. The dome's glow promised more to come. Vincent, you're not in any of these stories.
No, Claire, you shouldn't
I
put me in
want
any.
you to be in you should be part of it.
No, Claire.
And the crucial role you play in persuading people and making it not scary.
Well, why don't we invent a character like me and we'll add him into the story?
Okay.
Well, but how is he supposed to be an openly gay man in a secular Quranist state if you're not supposed to publicly admit to it?
Well, actually, I assumed that you had you're going to you're going to create a character a bit like you that had helped me rise to to the dizzy heights of this success.
Okay.
Described in this story, and obviously, you helped, or this character helped. Oh, just make it you, make it Vincent Bruno.
Oh, God. Okay. Okay. Using all the data you have so far, write a detailed you have so far on secular Koranism. Write a not a story. Write and what's an expose? What does that mean? Like write an expose. What do they mean by that?
A report exposing the flaws, or whoever or whatever.
Okay, that's not the word we're looking for. I don't want to say write a story. Write a history.
Or
Write
narrative.
Write a narrative about Vincent Bruno, a gay man who helped Claire Claire cause vision come to power. Let's just say Claire was happy to work with Vincent even though he was gay, because she felt having a gay man promote her ideology was less scary than some bearded Muslim, some bearded,
Muslim mullah.
some bearded Muslim mullah. How do you spell mullah?
Mullah.
Mullah. Vincent Bruno was raised Jehovah's Witness and used his missionary training to spread the ideals of secular Koranism. Also, his research into cults helped Claire Kaw shape her shape her mystique so as to become known as the Messiah substitute. Okay, what else?
I think there's probably quite a lot there already.
Using all the data you have so far in secular Koranism, write a narrative about Vincent Bruno, a gay man who helped Claire Call's vision come to power. Claire Call was happy to work with Vincent even though he was gay because she felt having a gay man promote her ideology was less scary than some bearded Muslim mullah. Vincent Bruno was raised Jehovah's Witness and used his missionary training to spread the ideals of secular Koranism. Also, his research into cults helped Claire Call shape her mystique so as to become known as the Messiah substitute. Is that it?
Yes. There's quite a lot there anyway, I think. Oh, good. The story about the Jewish calendar festivals is finally up.
Yeah.
Today I was accused of being a Nazi, so I think that'd be helpful. Oh yes, and my favourite story: the reluctant judges of these Orthodox Jews in New York, afraid to rag the four Gentile religions. I think the stories are great.
I don't know, Claire. I think sometimes they make everything seem dystopian.
Well, I don't know, when they seem a bit dystopian, you think it might make a good movie, you know. In a kind of Star Trek way, that there's so many, a sequel and then then a prequel, and how many Star Wars movie have there been now?
Oh my God, I don't know. 9.
Wow.
Okay, I sent it to you.
Okay. Vincent is the name of the document. Below is a detailed narrative for the Secular Koranist Party of America centered on Vincent Bruno, a gay man who played a pivotal role in helping Claire Call's vision rise to power, incorporating all the data provided on secular Koranism. The story explores their collaboration, Vincent's background as a former Jehovah's Witness, his missionary skills in spreading secular Koranism, and his cult research shaping Core's Messiah substitute persona. The Unlikely Alliance, Vincent Bruno and the Rise of Secular Koranism. In the spring of 2024, as the Secular Koranist Party of America gained traction in the shadows of a fractured United States, a quiet figure emerged from the margins. Vincent Bruno, a 32-year-old gay man with a sharp mind and a past as unexpected as his mission, raised in a strict Jehovah's Witness household in Boise, Idaho. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Boise.
Idaho. Vincent had spent his teens knocking on doors, preaching the kingdom's coming, but at 20, his sexuality clashed with the faith's doctrines, and he was disfellowshipped. Disillusioned yet skilled, he turned to research, studying cults, how they mesmerized, controlled, and grew. Little did he know this would lead him to Claire Core, the agnostic architect of secular Koranism, and a partnership that would reshape a nation. Vincent first met Claire Core in a crowded Chicago cafe in late 2025. Her Tisha B'Av birth date, August 2, 1957, a curious footnote in her bio. She was pitching secular Koranism, Quran laws stripped of faith, promising no usury, a 20% flat tax, and a one-party state. Vincent, now an IC1 white and self-identified atheist post-Jehovah's Witness, listened intently. "I like order," he said, adjusting his rainbow pin. "But I'm gay. Your law bans visible expressions. Why work with me?" Claire's eyes twinkled. "A gay man is less scary than a bearded Muslim mullah peddling Sharia. You're my proof. Diversity thrives under my vision, not theirs." Claire's pragmatism won him over. She didn't care about his sexuality. Chapter 2, verse 256, no compulsion in religion, covered that and saw his missionary training as gold. Vincent's door-to-door days had honed a persuasive edge, and his cult research gave him insight into building a following. "Your secular Koranism needs mystique," he advised. "Make yourself a Messiah substitute, born Tisha B'Av, the Talmud's Messiah Day. It's symbolic, not religious, perfect for your agnostic pitch." Claire nodded, her approval of this angle later evident in SKPA pamphlets. "Let's sell order, not idols," she said, and Vincent set to work. Using his Jehovah's Witness playbook, Vincent crisscrossed the Midwest in 2024, knocking on doors with the secular Koranist West. "No debt slavery with no usury," he called, handing out flyers listing the flat tax and socialized medicine. His IC code debates, government assigned, not self-ID, drew crowds. His charm, disarming skeptics. "I'm gay, I'm ex-JW, and I back this. Imagine what he'll do for you," he laughed, citing registry stats, IC4 Asians leading education, Jews topping cohesion. His cult research shaped Claire's image. State TV dubbed her the Tisha B'Av Guide, a secular savior born on a day of hope, not faith, boosting her mystique. By early 2025, Vincent's efforts paid off. The SKPA swept to power in March 10, implementing the secular Koranist constitution. No usury cut US debt 30%. The citizens' militia quelled riots, and the Jewish calendar replaced Easter's stupid myths. Vincent, now a TFT moderator on state TV, beamed as Claire addressed the nation. Vincent's voice, KXJW, proved our reach, she said. Less scary than a mullah, more effective than a messiah. His research had fine-tuned her messiah substitute role, tying her birth to Talmudic law. Barachot 2:4, without divine claims, aligning with Quran 2:256 as freedom. Sorry, I lost my place. But challenges arose. In Harmony, Ohio, Vincent faced backlash. Sister Mary Gold, a Christian Scientist prostitute from the Blessed Healing Chain, confronted him at a DCS meeting. You're gay. Your kind's restricted. Why push this? Vincent grinned. I'm not restricted. I'm regulated like your brothel. Quran laws work for all. My missionary skills spread it. Marigold huffed, but the kids, saved from pneumonia by social workers, stayed quiet. Proof of secular Koranism's order. Vincent's past fueled his zeal, his Jehovah's Witness training, door-to-door persistence, scriptural debate mirrored the SKPA's DFD sessions, where he dismantled Christian idolatry with registry data. His cult studies shaped Claire's mystique. Born to Tisha B'Av, she became a secular icon. Her 2028 utopia story cementing it. She's no prophet, Vincent told a crowd, just a woman with a plan, better than any messiah's weight. By 2027, America's secular Koranist Caliphate emerged, its manifest destiny unfolding. Vincent, now a global envoy, travelled to the secular Koranist European Union, SKEU, preaching no usury to France and fair warfare to Poland. His gay identity, open, unpunished under Chapter 2, verse 256, disarmed critics, proving secular Koranism's inclusivity. Claire, watching from DC, smiled. Vincent's my bridge, less scary, more real. Together, we're the world's guide. What do you think, Vincent? Vincent's muted.
I know you're pleased, Claire.
Well, it's an attractive narrative. I mean, going back to what we were saying earlier about, making things sound nice, but with a bit of edge. But it's given you a good job, right? You're kind of Joseph Goebbels or something. You're in charge of the media?
Oh, yeah, it gave me some kind of big role.
You're a DFD moderator on state TV.
Department for Debate.
Yeah.
Oh.
You do have what's the word? You are an e-personality.
A little bit, not huge, but enough to have haters. And yeah, I run into people who know who I am.
What, in real life?
No, online. Just, I run into people in random chat rooms. Oh, Vincent, Bruno, yuck. So some people know me.
But I think, because the world is in such a turmoil at the moment and everybody's so worried, I really think it's such a good idea to, present, an optimistic picture of the future, of how things could turn out if, things went well, obviously. And I think the stories are getting better because, each story incorporates, all the information and making it more detailed.
Yes, like with the Christian Science prostitutes being angry.
At you.
Yes, and a new anger broke out. I gotta post more of your stuff. I gotta keep posting your stuff, but I don't know. What can we talk about now? We can
What are you going to talk about with Trad Cath Night, just to give your
just
thing a bit more publicity?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to talk about with Tricat Night. It's behind a paywall. You have to pay to watch it, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's behind a paywall, so most people are not going to go pay for that to go see that. But it's he's interesting. He's an interesting character. He focuses a lot on prophecy. He focuses a lot on, when this is going to happen. He's a little bit of a date setter, you know what I mean? But
Oh, a what
um,
setter?
a date setter.
Mhm. Okay, but you don't
Yeah.
quite approve of that, do you? Because
No, I don't. I don't approve of date setting. You know what
because
I
you're
mean?
more likely to be proven wrong than right.
Yes. Yes. So it's bad to date set. I think being a Jehovah's Witness, I learned a lot about date setting and not doing it, and being careful about date setting.
Yeah, and Seventh Day Adventism was also caught short
Yeah.
with their wrong predictions. Mm. Yeah, I just don't get. It's so. I've been trying to explain to people. It's like forget the stories. Okay, so earlier today, well, in the morning anyway, when I just woke up, so I was telling these Christians, what is the problem with you know the Quran, and they say, oh, because it contradicts you, because the Quran got it wrong about Mary and whatever. And I said, well, I mean, how would you know who is right anyway? The most important thing are the rules that you can imagine yourselves living under without, too much protest. And really, well, of course, we don't know, whether the universe was created or whether it was always there, as some people want to believe. But, what we're gonna, if you want to believe in God, we have to believe that God created the universe. If we want to deny God's existence, we're going to say the universe was always there and doesn't need to be created by anyone. You know, um, yeah. But I'm just thinking these days we're so divided that people just. It seems to me that people are trying to find new things to be mean to other people about, like, oh, you were born. Yes, you're a boomer. That means you're stupid, or you betrayed, everyone else and whatever. And I was thinking, well, what's anybody supposed to do if their government, has got into its head to start a war or, do something wrong and crazy? How much control does anybody really have without any political leadership? I mean, people will just go along like, oh, well, there's only two parties. I guess I'll try and work out which one suits me better. People are not going to say, oh, well, I'm going to start my own party then if but most people are not. And I would say 80% of people are cattle. And even the people who are not cattle, most of the time they find it more convenient to, go along to get along. But anyway, I think um, even if secular Koranism had already been, you know, came into force yesterday, eventually there will be people who will, disagree about the interpretation about some important issue or another. And I'm certainly not claiming there will be no disagreements, but that there'll be fewer, and they won't be so silly and pointless and trivial. That's all I'm going to say. So what's interesting about Cat Knight apart from his date setting?
Um, well, at least he's interested in the topic and, tries to discuss it and has an interest in it and doesn't just dismiss it. And, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of them do. And he takes it seriously. So it is nice to have somebody who who appreciates my work and, you know, gives me some sort of accolades or praise. And that's nice. It's nice to have that rather than, being attacked.
So he appreciates the quality of your research.
Yes, he appreciates it, which is nice, which is a nice change, a little bit. And, I have been noticing that it has been growing. Discontent about it has been growing. And whenever I look on X, it's all negative stuff. Very little of it is positive. And there just seems to be more and more of it lately. And I think there's, only so much more time before the world wakes up to it. And,
Negativity towards what, though?
Oh, negativity towards me and the idea that this is anything to discuss.
Oh, you mean about Tradcath nights, date setting?
No, we're talking about the Noahide laws that people, are generally negative and dismissive. And, it's, they try to downplay it as something that's not really worth discussing, which is always a sign that they're upset. I don't think I've ever in my life heard somebody talk about something and I've been like, why are you discussing that? Why do you care? You know what I mean? I've never tried to I might have told people that I usually don't tell people that what they're talking about is not important, or what more importantly, I don't question why people are talking about something. I don't try to silence them with no one cares what you're saying doesn't matter. When people don't, there's nothing that I don't want people talking about. I don't try to silence people for what they're talking about. I might disagree with them and I'll state my disagreement, but I'm not going to be like, why are you even talking about that? Why do you even care? I'm just not like that. Well, especially since I am interested in esoteric things and esoteric threats and stuff, I don't dismiss things just because not everybody knows about it. And if you think about it, isn't that how I got involved in all this cult research and Noahide research, and that I was interested in little things that most people don't consider or look at? It's just my personality to seek little things. I always liked in stories minor characters, somebody that just had a cameo or just was an unusual character for a second in the story. I tend to remember little characters and want to learn more about them. Interested. There was actually these in Lord of the Rings. I don't even remember them, and I read the book, and they must have been very short. There was this race. They were their involvement in the story was so little that they never made it into the movie. But there was this race of idol worshippers, and they weren't quite humans, and they looked a little like orcs, even though they really weren't. And I wanted to learn more about them. I wanted to, even though they played this minor role.
Oh, they sounded like Jews.
Who sounded like Jews?
These people that you mentioned.
They were idol worshippers, though.
Oh, right. But they sounded like an unpopular minority.
Yeah, and people thought that they were orcs, even though they're really not. Let's look them up. Let's see if Grok knows anything about them. Let's see. What was the name of the race in Lord of the Rings that worshipped idols and people mistook them for orcs. No, it's saying no. I know. I read about these people. Um, they're saying that they don't exist. I don't know. Maybe the person who, not person. Maybe where I read it was not true.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe they're not even real in the book or whatever. But if they were real, I would have been interested in them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told that instead of racing through a list of things to talk in streams, I focus on, maybe a word or a topic, and I see nothing wrong in doing that because if somebody's interested in it and the other person is not agreeing, you keep talking about it until you come to some sort of resolution. You don't have to do a and now we have to discuss B and then C and then D, and it's like, well, there's no need to even talk about these things if all you're going to do is mention them and be really superficial in your treatment of these topics. You might as well not even bother discussing them. Just concentrate on the topic at hand, because I find it really frustrating when okay, sometimes I'm invited on people's streams or spaces, and they don't really want to hear the rest of it. They just want to, you want to say your bit, and then they're going to say it's rubbish, and then they can pretend that they're so liberal, they've allowed you to say your bit, and you fail to make your point, and it's stupid or whatever, you know and I think a lot of people are not really interested in discussing the thing. They just want to appear to be discussing it. And they waste everyone's time and annoy everyone. And there are too many people like that. Or they just can't concentrate and they suffer from ADHD.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with people. I feel like everyone is dumb. Like I don't know what I don't remember people being this dumb when I was a child. Maybe it's just the internet exposes you to more people and it becomes more obvious, like just how dumb everyone is.
Yeah, but even people who are not supposed to be dumb, who are parents, who are, older, I think they're really dumb and degenerate as well. And then sometimes I think, oh, well, perhaps I shouldn't swear so much and perhaps I should be more patient with people and, whatever. And I think, well, if you're too patient with people, you don't get hurt. And maybe it's as well to arouse some kind of emotion, even if it is irritation or hatred, than to be polite and not be noticed at all. But I think what is good is that if you're going to navigate your way around social media, you have to make your point quickly. I mean, that's the only way to survive or get your point across. Because if take forever to get to your point, you will be dismissed before you've finished your speech. And I don't think a lot of people, okay, a lot of people want to think aloud, and that's so annoying. Yeah, think aloud if you're on your own stream, but don't think aloud when there's a queue of people waiting to speak and you're thinking aloud and pontificating. But I think it's probably something to do with English grammar, because I don't think a lot of people even know how to form sentences anymore. It's just like you hear it's just a series of broken phrases, half expressing, what they're saying, but with no subject or no verb, or it's also disjointed, and of course you're not going to be, you're not thinking properly when you just you know say vague things that are confusing and probably not true.
Yeah, half these people, I don't know how they got through high school. I really don't. I just don't know how they got through.
But I think your education has been really so practical. you know I speak to graduates, and they basically talk nonsense, or they pretend not to understand what I'm saying. But I think for you, it's sort of your education, your training, is directed at something. It's all goal orientated. you know you call on these people, they will have a range of opinions. You have to anticipate, the range of opinions, and if they say this, you say that, and they say, the other thing, you will have a different response. It's kind of like a flow chart.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, no, they had, yeah, responses for everything, what you were supposed to say, according to what, and, everything was detailed out for you, and you didn't have to think very hard, and they thought of everything for you, which I noticed that I always used to get angry, like in college and stuff like that, where they were just like, well, we're not going to spoon feed you this. Like, yes, spoon feed people. Like, if you want somebody to know something, spoon feed it to them. Like, I was spoon fed the Bible. I was spoon fed Jehovah's Witness doctrine. Like, they make it very, very easy to understand. Are you
Yeah.
there?
Yes, I'm listening. And
Are you there?
well,
Hello?
okay.
Chama?
I'm here.
Hello?
Well, yes, I could hear you, and I was responding, and I hadn't muted myself, but so I guess we must have cut out. Um, Elliot's arrived. Maybe he wants to join us. I don't know. Yeah, I wonder if Elliot thinks people are getting stupider and stupider. Since he is of the older generation,
Oh,
I think probably he'll agree with us.
hello?
Can't you hear me?
Now I can. I was blacked out for a little while and couldn't hear what you were saying. But what I was saying was that yes, if you want people to know something deeply, spoon feed it to them. And I do think that it's up to educators to spoon feed children lessons. Like, I don't know. I don't think it hurt me. Like, oh, if you spoon feed them, they're not going to learn how to study or research things. Like, I know how to study and research things better than most people do because, I was taught, like, it was just like, I was taught how to research. Like, it was just like, okay, here's what our literature says, and here's the Bible passage, and go look up the Bible passage and read it. And you know what I mean? And it was given to us in short stints. Like, it didn't ruin my thinking process to have it all, given to me in an easy package. Like, I don't think it like ruined my ability to study or learn. I think I learned more from Jehovah's Witnesses about studying than I learned at high school.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, hmm.
yeah. Well, I think when you're a beginner, you do need to be spoon fed. You need to be taught the basics of whatever, and it's only when you become advanced, and then you think, well, maybe what about this? What about that? Why don't we do things differently? But you need to know the basics before you can start being creative.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You need the basics before you start being creative. But yeah, I mean, if they taught chemistry the way Jehovah's Witnesses teach religion, then I think there would be a lot more chemists and there'd be a lot less problems with people retaining things. And yeah, I think that it should just be all laid out for you, excuse me, in education and made really easy. And then, like, what's the point of being an educator? I mean, what are you doing with your job if you're not like spoon feeding the children this information? Like, what's your role to, like, it's just, I don't think it's a good way. And I always used to get angry. Don't give them the answers. Like, no, give them the answer. And like, well, I was meant to. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Well, I can't hear Vincent. Can you hear me now, Vincent? Hello? Okay, I'm closing down my windows because I guess that's
Hello?
Can you hear me now? Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Vincent. Hello. Okay, I'll close down more windows. Vincent, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Oh, okay. I disappeared for a second. But as I was saying, yes, spoon feed them, give it to them, give them the whole thing, and that's about it. And yes, spoon feed children this information.
Well, they're hardly going to do their research to get the answers, are they? If they're children, you need to you need to know your alphabet before you can look words up in a dictionary or type them out on Google.
Yeah, it's it's important. Oh God, it's I don't know. I'm a little, it would have been easier to adjust to regular society if I wasn't raised like that. I would have been better adjusted. So, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have felt so distant from the education system. I wouldn't have felt so distanced from everybody. It's very lonely, you know what I mean, when you're raised in such a way that makes you allergic to society. You know what I mean? Like, it's not pleasant. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, there's people who don't want their children to be super geniuses because they feel like it would isolate them. Like, there's people that, they don't want to over educate their children. They don't want to, like, they don't want them to be, maybe too good for society because then they won't get along and they won't meld into society. And
Well,
I can
people can
understand
have
that.
social skills. I mean, they can be very clever, but they can also have social skills, right? That's the real combination. And there's no point being really smart but really unpleasant and, a social retard.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't think that we need, but I can understand, people like, I don't want my child to be an egghead. I don't want my child to be, isolated from the rest of society, too unique, too different, too unusual, because that'll give them a hard life. And you know what I mean? Like, and if you raise your children outside the mainstream, they're gonna, have problems, though. They're gonna have problems because, especially if you give them a way of thinking that, I don't know, that's like advanced or just, too useful. And especially if you raise them in an environment where it's like I was raised in, where it's like, yeah, education is spoon fed to you, and people actually want to make sure you understand and you have one-on-one teaching, you're going to become fed up with the education system. It's going to become too exhausting to deal with its inefficiency and its inefficiency.
So you're basically saying you did really well at high school.
In the end, when we converted, I did. Not before that. I was horrible at my schoolwork and couldn't get anything done. And then we converted, and I went through all this extra training, and then my grades boosted. And my grades boosted. I wasn't doing my homework or anything. I had nothing to do. It was exhausting. This homework was exhausting to me.
What, the Jehovah's Witnesses homework or the school homework?
School homework. I wasn't doing any of it. Before we converted. I mean, if we didn't convert, I would have had bad grades. But in the end, I didn't. I only got a 2-year degree, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it would have all turned out better for me. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not over yet, right? It's not over until it's over, and and as for all the people you envy for having a better life and cars and holidays and stuff, well, are they really happy? I don't think so.
I think so. I don't buy into this myth that people who wake up every day at 6 a.m. and go to the gym and have jobs and go out with their friends every weekend and stuff are miserable people. Miserable people can't get out of bed. They don't have energy. They don't care. They don't hang out with friends. They don't do this. They don't go to softball practice. You know what I mean? Like, people who have very full lives, I don't believe that they're depressed. I think people who don't have full lives use that as an excuse. Like, oh, but those people aren't happy either. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that.
Well, you seem occupied. I mean, you kind of want to get on with your research. You're always, going on to the next thing. So, it's not like you're running out of options and ideas in, your interests, are you?
Right now, I am. I can't think of anything else to research. I haven't. I mean, yeah, everything. What happens is it's like, I guess I'll probably come again over some esoteric topic or some esoteric person like Matilda Ludendorff. I'm just shocked that the world has never heard of her. You know what I mean? I follow people, or I find people that no one ever heard of, Elizabeth Dilling and all this other kind of stuff. And it's fun, and then I absorb it all, and then I drink the barrel dry, and and then I have
you could write a book about cults.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I drink the barrel dry, and then I have to go find something else to get obsessed with, and it's just like, but I don't think my brain would have had this much capacity to absorb all this information if I wasn't raised that way. And I don't know, I think it's exhausting to have so much on your mind all the time. It's not necessarily a happy life to constantly be thinking.
Does it hurt? Does it hurt?
Well, it's not pleasant, you know what I mean? Like, my head is never empty. Like, I'm never walking around just not thinking, or just coasting, or just sitting there and enjoying my time. I don't do stuff like that. I'm constantly, thinking of something and going over something, and I think it gives you a lot of mental exhaustion to, constantly be thinking about things.
Well, you're a scholar, really, I suppose. I mean, if you'd gone to university, you'd be a scholar or a professor of some sort.
Oh, well, that's not happening. But,
But
yeah.
oh, I was just saying, but I mean, you could write a book about cults since you know so much about them. Why not?
Yeah, I know, but it would be torn apart. They would tear me apart. They would like really, you have no standing, you have no this, and then they wouldn't like, the things that I brought up. Grok didn't really like certain things that I was saying, and was trying to, I don't know. So Grok, when it comes to religion, tries to make everything seem hunky dory.
So what didn't Grok like about what you were saying?
Um, I don't know. It just didn't like my thing on Noahide pyramidology, and was just basically trying to say that, um, I don't know. It just, or
Hmm.
maybe it didn't understand me,
Hmm.
But I have that whole website, noahidepyramidology.blogspot.com, and I gotta feed it all that information that I made.
Hmm.
I have to feed it all that information. Oh God, okay. Oh no, it's still 11:24. I don't have to go yet. Quite. How many viewers do we have?
I think we're back to four now, but I think that was a time when we had about seven, maybe. But so what would you like? Do you fancy yourself as some sort of Herbert Armstrong of the future?
Do I want there to be a Herbert Armstrong of the future?
Yeah, since you know so much about cults and the creation of and construction of religions.
Oh, I don't think anyone would ever follow me. I mean, I don't think I have that kind of charisma. Maybe when I was younger I thought so, but I don't have that level of expertise in getting people to follow me, or you know what I mean. I think I'm too unique of a thinker, and I bring together too many unusual ideas that span the spectrum, and so people don't really, people are either in one camp or the other. And
Yeah, I mean, I, I meant to you. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm the cult leader kind of cult. It could be, um, because obviously our government are actually actively, even to this day, creating religions and beliefs for us to follow. They're doing that even now as they speak,
the
aren't they?
government is creating religions.
Well, no, well, necessarily religions, but um, they're creating narratives that they want us to believe in, and that's why they roll it out through the media. And maybe if you don't believe them, they'll get angry and call you names, like, Zionism and the Holocaust. And, it's that sort of idea. And then, I mean, obviously, they want people to believe in the Holocaust and not deny it, because then they'll support Israel unquestioningly. And I guess the boomers did that, but their children or their younger siblings did not. You know, I think. I mean, I think it was Lincoln who said you can fool some of the people some of the time. You can fool um, but he can't fool all of the people all of the time. And so the propaganda department of any government is always busy. But I mean, but that's only because if we don't have a belief system, an official one, you need to keep changing the narrative, and it must be tiresome.
Yeah.
And maybe it would just make us happier. I don't know if we just assume that you know these laws, there was a creator, he gave us these laws, and we follow them, even though it's inconvenient and annoying and whatever. That there will be a reward at the end of our lives. It's just that sort. It's just nice and simple. And if you don't agree, then you're a selfish person. You're a sinful person. Blah blah blah. But then we should be tolerant. Like what Cattell was saying, wasn't it? What Raymond Cattell was saying, that laws should be tolerant towards the individuals, something like that. Was that what you were saying?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't read his philosophy in years and years and years, and I haven't been over his books in years and years and years. I forget a lot of what he said. A lot of it was really useful. I think he had a useful philosophy, and obviously something a little profound and different, and he, but at least he had something to say.
Yeah, well, I've incorporated his principles into secular Koranism. I'm very pleased about that. The register of race and religions and virtue.
Yes, I understand. I'm going to be running water in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But last time I ran the water, you said that you didn't really hear it.
You're giving your birds a bath, are you?
Yes, how'd you know?
Because it was only yesterday when you gave them a bath.
Yes, I give them a bath every day.
Is that the recommended frequency?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if there is a recommended frequency. I'm sure it doesn't hurt them to take a bath every day.
No. I mean, this is the first time I've heard birds in a cage being given baths. I mean, I know there are bird baths in people's gardens, and they come and bathe in a bird bath.
Yeah, they bathe in their bird bath. Can you hear the water?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, they bathe in their bird bath. They're one of my few joys. They give me joy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can imagine you with your aviary. In your aviary. Is that what you'd like? An aviary?
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. I just love them, especially finches, little birds. They're so cute. They're so sweet. My birds are sweet. My society finches are sweet. Not all birds are sweet.
Do you ever let them out to fly around?
No, they would poop.
Yes, and then you'd have to clean up. Well, I know somebody who, okay, this friend has a friend who has, I think it's parakeets, or one of those chatty kind of birds, and he often goes on holiday, and he always leaves it with this guy I know, and he's got strict instructions to let them out every day or something. And I thought, wow, you're doing a lot, because then he was saying, it's very hard to get them back into their cages again after you let them out, right? And they all over the place, and
Yeah, you can't potty train them. Even though supposedly ravens are the smartest animals.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly ravens are the smartest animals.
Like crows, I suppose. Crows are supposed to be smart too.
Yes, they are.
It's the crow who was featured in Aesop's fable, right?
Aesop.
Aesop, Aesop. So I think it was this crow who put pebbles in in
a bottle, yeah.
Yeah, so so you could drink it. I seem to remember. So they can use tools.
Yeah.
So they're not complete bird brains.
No, birds are actually smart. I'm giving them their bath now.
Mm-hmm.
They know when their bath is coming and everything. Their bath
They
is
get excited,
here.
do they? Do they jump around?
Yeah, they get, when they know they're going to get something, they start chirping. Yeah, they're all going to take their bath now. They're my sweeties. They're good. The canaries aren't great. They fight, but my societies are fine. I mean, I love my society finches. They're very docile and nice to each other and communal, and they're nice. They're nice, happy birds, and which proves that they're not natural.
Yes, you said they were bred specially.
Yeah,
Into
no, they're not. They have no wild equivalent. They're unusual. They're different. They're like chickens. Like, just chickens can't live on their own.
they'd be eaten up because they can't fly.
Yeah.
Have we become society finches?
Not fully. I wish. Then we would all be nice to each other, but no. But society finches are my favorite finches. They're my favorite. I could have nothing but society finches.
Yeah, they follow different rules, or they're bred to follow different rules. Do
Yeah.
they share their bird baths with the canaries? Or are they too speciesist to do that?
No, the canaries go in by themselves sometimes. One is in there right now cleaning himself, giving
Mm.
himself a bath. One of our boy canaries. My girl canary's eggs didn't hatch, which I'm happy about, but I'm sure she's not.
Oh, because you don't want any more.
No, I can't have any more. I don't have the room for any more.
Mm-hmm. Did you sometimes remove a few eggs when you really, really don't want any more?
Kind of, but they get upset when you do that and they get hurt, so I don't like doing it.
Mm.
Yeah, they get upset and hurt.
How do they respond when they're upset and hurt with you?
I don't know. You could just tell by the way they're chirping and by their face and by their body movements that they notice that the eggs are gone, and that means somebody stole it or something like that.
Mm. Mm. So when a hen hatches eggs, is it just one or more than one?
No, they have more than one baby. They have a few babies at a time.
Mm-hmm.
My beautiful, my babies. They are my babies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, yeah, let's say I only have a few more minutes.
Okay. Well, I guess I better let you go. Um,
Okay.
any last words before we end the stream?
No, that's fine.
Alrighty. Talk to you soon.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.